You ready? 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 Okay, ready? What's up guys, Larry Chen here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at Fuel Fest in West Palm Beach, Florida, and we're featuring awesome cars as usual. We featured a couple interesting builds so far, but this time we're gonna do something different. We're gonna feature a crazy cart, specifically built by Taxi Garage. We got the owner here, Kyle. Hi, just kidding, we're featuring his amazing 240SX. I call it a 240SX, it's not a S14, but the special thing about Kyle is, get ready for it, you are the only person I've ever met who's a first owner of your S chassis.
There's very few of us out there. I have met a few over the years, but they do end up selling them. 23 years now, Money Pit. Second S14, rest in pieces, was making a left-hand turn in 1999. Somebody ran a red light, T-boned me at 60. They didn't make the S14 anymore, but my mom, who got me into cars from her Supras, she found a 240SX for sale in 1999, still in the dealer lot, and said, we're going to Nissan. They had like 5 left in the entire country, and they were doing like a closeout at this particular dealership. When the insurance money came in, I had really wanted either this or an FDRX7. The FDRX7 was discontinued in 95, and therefore was not gonna be easy to find. But we lucked out, we got this, and it's been my baby ever since.
It wasn't this color when you first bought it.
It was originally black, that's why my engine bay is black. In 2001, I was driving around in the car, and I pulled up into a gas station, and there was a Laguna Seca Blue M3 parked there. And I grabbed my old film camera, took a picture of it, went over to my body shop and said, I want to be the first S chassis that has this color. 20 years old now, and it still looks pretty decent for its age.
It honestly did stand up to the test of time. I photographed it beginning of last year,
yes,
around and in Miami, and it looked amazing. I didn't realize that the paint was that old. First of all, you run the South Florida 240SX group. You rally a lot of people that are into
S chassis and Skyline.
S chassis and Skyline, yes, in the South Florida, correct, Miami area.
Every, say, 3 or 4 months, I'll get a spot on private property. Everybody is personally invited. Nothing gets posted on social media. Not to be elitist, the whole thing is really just to keep out the trouble. We don't want any random people coming in doing any burnouts.
With that said, do you remember what you paid for it brand new back then?
I want to say it was in the mid-20s.
Mid-20s?
Yeah, mid-20s, because I had the SC model.
And was yours manual to begin with?
It was actually converted early on via Moseri from salvage to Savage.
If this car was available now, I feel like it would be so much more than mid-20s. And on top of that, it sitting in this condition here is worth a lot more than it was new.
I have put 20 years of paychecks into this car, but I have 0 regrets.
A lot of people that I know go through cars like they change clothes, which is fine, you know, every to each his own. But this is like your life for a project. You're never gonna sell this.
It is. I've been offered what I would call ridiculous money for it. And I even took it to the point where I brought it up to my wife. She goes, don't you dare sell that car. And it was shocking. My wife's wedding vows at the altar surprised me with, I will support all your car projects.
You married the right woman. What have you done body-wise?
So I kind of wanted to go with OEM Plus. The Japanese S14, and I'll pronounce it properly, the Kouki S14 has this front end in Japan. However, I added the Trust Ready lip to it because it helps it get a little more aggressive. I have a Bomex Type 2 grille. This is a Garage Defend cooling panel, charge speed fenders.
These are super nice.
I actually picked these up from Juku Racing. I run the factory side skirts because I think they work with the aero just fine. Mm-hmm. Everywhere and anywhere you see on the car, I went with the neochrome accents via Dress Up Bolts. Dress Up Bolts is my sponsor. These are actually kick slug nuts.
Oh, nice.
But I do have the Dress Up Bolts valve stem cover.
And so tell me about the wheel specs.
Okay, 18x9 plus 10 and 18x10 plus 17. I also run a Z32 300ZX caliper with a setup that allows me to run a 350Z rotor. So it pushes the caliper out a little further and gives you the bigger rotor.
What have you done on the suspension side?
Suspension, Fortune Auto coilovers. I love you, Fortune Auto. Originally, I had run KYB AGX shocks with teen springs when I in the early 2000s. Then I switched to Megan Racing coilovers. And then when I upgraded to Fortune Auto, I'm in love, and Fortunato has my heart. Passenger side mirrors.
It's a good OEM plus kind of look.
I like it, and you get people that think that you're losing your vision, but it's like a panoramic. I would say, if anything, I can see better than the OEM mirrors did.
I don't like this mod.
No, this guy's got to go. I don't know how that got in there.
This makes your car slower.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the wing?
Silvia K's wing. The factory USDM spoiler is very low key. It sits right over the trunk. But the K's wing, it's one of those OEM plus things. We've got the JDM Silvia rear bumper, and then the highly sought after valances. These are really tough to find. They make copies in fiberglass, but unfortunately they fit terribly.
These are OEM?
These are an OEM option. Of all the aero pieces, it's one of the hardest to find. Custom 2.4
yeah, I like
turbo.
this a lot.
Yeah, because everybody assumes they see a S chassis that you're going to be SR20, you're going to be RB.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my KA. You know, truck motor.
It's funny because there was at one point in Formula Drift, there was a couple of guys running KA Turbo. And even Matt Powers, I think the last year that he ran KA Turbo was in 2009 in his Zenki S14. And he got all the way up to 4th place, I think, with a KA Turbo setup. It's kind of cool that you modified the original motor. You know, it's USDM spec.
It gets a lot of hate, and I feel like the hate it gets is because people read about things on forums. They've seen things in magazines. Go ride in a KA, boost a KA, go for a drive in one. Then if you don't like it, so be it. But give the motor a try.
What about the rear calipers? Are those?
So those are Z32 calipers as well.
Okay.
The only thing is when you run these, you have to run, I believe it's a Skyline e-brake cable. Otherwise you lose functionality of your e-brake.
Welcome to South Florida.
Yeah, welcome to South Florida.
This is the centerpiece of the build, your KAT. Is this the stock block?
This is the original motor itself with just built internals. Pistons, rods, head gasket, Wiseco pistons, Carrillo rods.
Wow.
Come on!
That is horrible, sir.
Wiseco pistons, Carrillo rods, Cosworth head gasket, ground zero, equal length 304 exhaust manifold, which they've been discontinued for quite a bit. I believe they were out at Oregon. Garrett GT3582R turbo, excessive intake manifold with the Q45 V8 throttle body, coil radiator, Flexolite fans.
That was honestly the ugliest part of the KA motor is the intake manifold.
Not only that, the distributor wires. So,
I hope it blows up.
all right, so we eliminated the distributor, and we run the Honda K series coils with the wiring specialties harness. They have a harness that wires right up to it. So all we had to do is make a bracket for them to sit in.
It actually looks pretty good.
Oh, it's so much
OEM.
cleaner. It's so much cleaner. I mean, that was the whole idea, is to go OEM
Yeah,
plus.
because I remember I had a S13, or I've had a couple S13s, and that was one of the first things I had to do is change the distributor cap and rotor because they wear out.
Yeah, well, not
very
only that,
easily.
the K is not pretty. That is the hardest thing with the K. It's not a pretty motor. You know, SR, it covers everything. RBs, they cover everything. KAs are kind of like everything's on the outside, so you really got to try your hardest to make it, you know, look decent. As for now, we got factory pulleys up front, covered them in the dress-up bolts. We got the Circuit Sports overflow tank. Shout out to Chase Bays for the power steering. My brake booster delete is actually on its way from Chase Bays. They got backed up, but that's my next mod. That booster is going away. Unfortunately, my downpipe has killed 4 brake boosters from heat.
Oh wow! So you need to like heat wrap it or something better.
I've tried everything. I've tried taking a hammer to the downpipe. Like, it's just, that's it. Chase Bays makes amazing stuff. Back on Black Friday, they had a special, and I pulled the trigger. I'm just waiting for it to come in. Engine management, we've got the AEM Infinity, and I run it to a CAN bus gauge via BTI. So it's a full touchscreen interface, and it reads out all of the stuff in real time right at my fingertips.
It's kind of interesting to me also the fact that you've had a chance to drive and build and enjoy and experience this car through every single stage.
Yeah. Right?
Which is bone stock, automatic. Then I'm sure you did the manual swap, then you did bolt-ons, all NA.
As soon as I swapped to manual, I went B&M short shifter. I went aftermarket clutch. I mean, I didn't want to just go from that to stock. So it was an upgraded transmission from there. Currently, I'm actually on a 300ZX transmission. Currently, it runs on like a boost by gear setup. So depending on what gear I'm in, it allows me to have like 11 pounds, then 14 pounds. Then I believe it goes to 18. And if I'm in third gear and it surpasses 6,000 RPMs, the setting from my tuner, shout out Armando Alvarez, Eris 650, he put a setting that after 6,000 RPMs, it realizes that I'm racing, and then it ups the boost from 6,000 to where I'm about to shift at 7 and change. And then from 4th gear and 5th gear, I get 21 pounds.
It actually is revving higher than it came stock then.
Yes, once you build a KA, you take the RPM. I mean, I think 6,500 is just factory redline, but I can shift at 7 all day with the way the motor's built. I've been on this built motor, I think we finished it somewhere around 2017, and no matter what we've thrown at it, knock on wood, it's, well, hopefully no knock at all, but.
Yeah. On the interior, it looks like you have 2 1DX. No.
As far as seats, I found actual Nismo seats. I found the Nismo Willens harnesses. These are the I believe a 2-inch version from the early 2000s. Somewhere around 2015, they re-released them in a 3-inch. So these are the originals from that era.
This is a seat that you could get as a factory option?
A Nismo option. I believe it was a Nismo option in some 350Zs, and I believe even the Nissan March, I believe it was, had an option. But these actually came out of a R32 GTR, and I brought them in from a guy from Thailand. From there, my favorite, the Nismo 330 steering wheel. I'm a big fan of the mid logo. The mid logo, for anybody who doesn't know Nismo, the mid logo is when you have the solid red O. If you look at modern Nismo, the O is not filled in completely. That's how you'll know. The old school Nismo has that font there on the.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah.
Yes. So when this 330 steering wheel came out, it was kind of like an introduction almost to the new logo, because it was an old logo but had the mid logo as a horn button. So I didn't change the 330 at all.
That's incredible that is an actual Nismo part.
Yeah, it's legit. And 330 is my favorite steering wheel. I had purchased I believe a 360 Nismo as well, and when I tried it on, I felt like I was driving a school bus. I can't deal with that. It's just too big. But the 330 is like the perfect fit for, I guess, my driving style. As far as the mid logo, the seats are mid logo, the harnesses are mid logo. To me, it's like the era specific to this car. The only thing that's not mid logo is going to be the actual steering wheel here, and I don't know if your camera can see it, but I run the Nismo pedals.
Oh, okay.
Those are actual pedal covers. So I run the gas, brake, clutch, and this is the larger one that actually comes on the Skylines.
I'm surprised you didn't run a Nismo shift knob.
I have a Nismo shift knob, but when I turned 40, my wife surprised me. This is a Kouki Damascus shift knob, and Sam from Kouki Motorsports is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to support him, and this is a limited edition 1 of 10 Kouki shift knob. So there's very few people in my life that I will remove Nismo for, and if you've met Sam, I'm sure you have, he's one of the coolest guys around, and I will gladly support Kouki.
I have a question about the gauge cluster here.
Yes.
Does that mean you had to change that when you changed it to manual?
No, factory, that is a completely factory gauge cluster. Now on the SEs and the LEs, you got a white face gauge cluster.
Okay. And how many miles do you have now?
I currently have 98,800.
On this chassis?
On this.
Or on this motor, too?
Well, technically speaking on the motor, but the motor's built, so on the built motor, maybe like 3,000 or 4,000 miles.
Got it.
But I'm not afraid to drive the car. It's not a trailer queen. I've taken it on Homestead Speedway. We've gone on the bank. I've done quarter-mile runs. I've done a standing mile. I got clocked at 161 miles per hour, which was pretty much the max this car can go.
What RPM were you at?
I was crossing the line. It's actually one of my very first YouTube videos. I have in-car footage when we filmed that. It was in 2009. Some event called Mile Marker 1 in South Florida. The guy shut down an airport runway, rented it out, and just, we had people doing top speed runs. At the end of the run, you just had a cop with a radar, and after you slowed down, you came back around, he goes, "That's what I clocked you at." And that was your number.
Way.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. And then I came around, they go, "We got you at 161. I'm like, Jesus.
That's
man.
incredible.
And that was when I was on stock internals.
So the speedometer only goes up to 120.
Yeah, so it was basically pinned.
Yeah.
And then when I crossed the finish line, I kind of glanced down at it, and it sat at 120 for quite a while.
Yeah.
Until the speedometer could even read to slow enough down.
That's hilarious.
This is the CAN bus gauge I was talking about from BTI. It's a full touchscreen setup. So let's see if I key it on. Because race car. Well,
Kyle, thank you so much for showing us your awesome 240SX/S13 K Turbo. This thing is super cool. I appreciate your support. I see you have a Lean Customs pin. I actually have one of those. They're super cool.
So I can't wait for you to drive it. You need to drive it.
Oh yeah, well, I'll drive it.
Yes.
Hopefully soon. I'll drive it. Can you help me with the door? Kyle's nice enough to let me drive his baby, his Nissan 240SX, 1998.
1998, yes.
1998 was a good year.
It was a good year.
So these brakes, is it a stock booster?
It is basically no booster right now.
That's why.
You're not really
that's
getting.
why it feels
yeah,
like
you're
it's
not really
no power
getting any
brakes.
assist.
Yeah.
But this is where the chase base is going to come in.
Okay.
Because once I get their booster delete, they actually have like a bias valve, and I can kind of fix it.
Okay.
But their stuff is gorgeous.
So far, it drives like a normal car.
Yeah. I mean, KAs are you can drive it all day long without any boost, and it's fine. It's just, you know, when you get on it, it's good times.
Sir. Oh, that turbo noise is so nice. Oh yeah, definitely no booster.
No, but they still brake.
It still stops.
It's
so
like,
does this have ABS?
It does not. There is no ABS.
Oh my god, it comes on so hard.
They say truck motor, right? Torquey as shit. I'll take that truck motor.
I kind of like that turbo sound that it makes.
And the turbo sound, part of the turbo sound comes from having the turbo guard right there. You know, it doesn't. You can hear it spool versus having to go through that filter, and you get a little more of that noise out of it.
What is this? A brain base or something?
I have no idea. I've never been in this area.
What? Oh my god!
From a four-banger, man.
Oh my god, it steps out so easy. And I can't believe you drive this on the street all the time.
I'm very rarely a passenger. I'm a really nervous passenger.
Okay.
But it's you, so.
I'll try not to scare you.
No.
It just amazes me so much, like how long people drifted with stock KA motors.
A KA from the factory, if you boost it, if you stay like under 350, it'll take a beating.
It's so defined, the turbo noises.
Is this your first time driving a KA?
No, I've had a couple S13s.
But KA turbo?
Not KA turbo.
That's what I meant, yeah. Cats.
I've never driven a cat.
Yes.
It's just that sound, the initial. Thank you so much. You know, I love this car so much. It's just, this is the purest form of tuning. While it's super easy to put in a JDM motor, RB25, RB26, SR20, whatever.
LS,
even LS,
1J, 2J, yeah.
K series, everything goes in the S chassis. You decided to upgrade the stock motor, and it's pretty cool. It may not be the best if you were racing it, or if you're doing standing mile, whatever, but just the visceral feeling of me just driving it around just a little bit, just around the block here, I understand why it's fun and why it's cool, and just the noises, the way it reacts, the way the turbo kicks in, all of that is awesome. So good job.
The neck braking when people walk by and they see, oh my god, that's a KA, is my favorite part, because they see the black valve cover and they instantly think, oh, it's a blacktop SR20, and I said, no, look where the old cap is. No, it's not.
A cat. It's a cat.
And there's been a lot of fighting over the years, what's the best motor, and I finally came to the conclusion, the best motor for this chassis is the one that makes you smile when you put your foot on the gas.
Yeah, so it could be a lot of things, but this one has a cat.